All right, welcome to a tour of Google Drive. I am going to, in just a few seconds, I'm going to put a poll up. I just want to get a sense as to what your experience has been like with Google Drive. That way I can kind of tailor things during this class. So in just a second, you're going to see a poll launch on your screen. And if you could click one of the answers, that way I kind of get an idea as to what your experience has been. Very good. Thank you all for responding quickly. It looks like the majority of you are pretty experienced, or not as experienced. We've got a couple that are experienced. Hopefully I'll cover stuff today for everybody. All right, I'm going to end that and go ahead and share my screen with you, and we'll get started. All right, can you all see my screen at this point? If you want to give me a thumbs up, either in your video or in the chat. Let me get some things situated here on my screen so I can see everything. All right, thank you all for the feedback. Okay. All right, so Google Drive. Before I dive right into it, I will tell you that it's an incredible platform to really house all of your documents. You can put pictures in there. Everything that comes through on email, you can put in Drive, all the attachments. It's a great place to be able to organize and store everything that you need to operate your business. The beauty about Google Drive, there's a couple of great things about it. One is if you use it as your primary storage, you can access your documents, your important files from any computer, any device that you ever log into. You have access if you're in Bermuda on the beach and you need to access documents, you can log on to a computer from there and access things. You can access from your phone by downloading the Drive app onto your phone, which is very handy, especially when we're on the go. We're not on the go a lot right now, but if you are and you need to share a document with somebody, you can do that right from your phone, which is really, really nice. It's a huge part of my business. I keep everything in Drive. It's easy for me to share things with you all, just provide links to things. I'm going to show you how to do that as we progress here. But it really is my one-stop shop for all of my documents, everything that I have, all my training materials, my client files, everything I put into Drive. We have a massive, I think we've got, I don't want to say unlimited because I could be wrong, but pretty darn close to unlimited storage because of our company subscription to the G Suite platform. So you'll never run out of space. If your computer ever dies, your hard drive goes bad, that's okay. You've got all your documents, you've got all your important files. So I know that that's important to me, and I use Google Drive for everything. So I'm going to jump in first here and show you how to access Google Drive. A couple of just tips before we get in here. I'm working in Google Chrome, which I highly recommend for your primary browser. Our platforms and everything we do seems to work best if you're in Chrome versus using an Internet Explorer, a Safari. I think Chrome is probably the easiest to use. Carol, I know you said it looks like in chat that it's small. You might click your view options and go to full screen and see if that helps. All right, so how to access Drive. Right now I'm just in a new window, a new tab in Chrome. And the first thing that I always check for is I check to make sure this picture up here is me, and then I'm logged in. You can see when I hover over it, it'll tell me that I'm logged into my kansascityhomes.com account. A lot of times as I'm troubleshooting Drive with people in person, That's usually one of the first things that we troubleshoot. If they come to me and say, I can't access everything, I don't see the shared drives once I'm in there, that's typically why. It's because you're not logged in to your Kansas City Homes account before you get into Drive. So you want to make sure that you're logged in that way before you click through to Drive. So to access Drive, I'm going to go right next to my picture here to the waffle, to the Google Apps. This is a shortcut to get into Drive. If I click on this, it brings up all of the great G Suite products. And today we're going to go into Drive, which is this little triangle. The green, yellow, blue triangle is Drive. Okay, a couple of navigation things. When you get into your Drive, you're going to see some documents that are up here that float up here on the top. This is not everything that you have in Drive. This is what you have accessed most recently or most recently put into Drive. Even if you've never used Drive, you likely have some stuff in here and don't realize that you have it in here. And you'll see this floating up at the top. Yours will look much different than mine. But that's not the only things that you have in Drive. That's just showing you the things that either once you start using Drive, it'll show you things that you access frequently or things that you've most recently opened. Okay. So in Drive, I'm going to start over here on the left-hand side and just show you some navigation things. The new button right here, this is how you add things to Drive. If you want to upload some documents, if you have folders that you want to put into Drive, one particular document, you would click new with the big plus sign right here, and it'll give you some options here. You can upload entire folders from your computer or from your documents, whatever storage system you're using now. You can add entire folders into Drive with the click of a button. You'd click on folder here. You're going to select, or you name the new folder. Create, and it's going to come up right down here. And you can see how many folders I have. It'll come up right down here in your folders. And then I'll show you later on how you can get all documents. If you want to dump a whole bunch of documents into one folder, you can do that. So also in the ad is a file upload. If you want to upload a single file, you'd click on that, select the single file from your computer. We'll just upload this one. Maybe we'll do that, upload. Right down here, it's telling me that, oh good, the file failed to load. That's awesome. Typically that works like a charm. Hopefully it'll work better for you. To upload an entire folder, you'd click on this folder upload, and this is where you can come and upload entire folders. If you've got something on your desktop, for example, and you want to put an entire folder into Drive. Let's see if it works now. It's been acting funky for me. All right, that one worked. You can see right down here in the bottom right, my upload is complete. So now that entire folder is off of my desktop and it's now in Drive for me, which means if I run into the office today to do something, if I'm upstairs on a different computer in my house, I can access this. See where it went down here. There it is right there. Now, I will tell you, it is still sitting over on my desktop. When you put things into Drive, it's going to create a copy of it. It doesn't move it. It creates a copy. So as you are putting things into Drive, and if you plan to use this for your primary storage, you want to go back. If you're worried about memory or space on your computer, you can go back and delete things off of your computer once you get them up into Drive, but it does create a copy. It doesn't move things. The next options on here are the other platforms that are associated with G Suite. We've got our Google Docs that works very, very similar to Microsoft Word. We've got Sheets, that's the companion to Excel, and then Slides is the companion to PowerPoint. So even if you don't have these on, if you don't have Microsoft Word, for example, on your computer, you can create an use documents on Google Docs. I'll show you that a little bit later. We're not going to go too far into detail on that since we're really focused on Drive and not on these other platforms. And then more, you've got all sorts of different apps here that are associated with Google. Again, we're not going to spend a lot of time on any of these. I just kind of want to show you navigation things right now. So underneath here, we'll hit priority later, but I want to go to these two options and tell you the difference between these. My Drive is your drive. So it's all of your personal documents, your folder, everything that you put into Drive is going to sit in your Drive. If I click the down arrow next to it, it'll give me my whole list of folders that I have. Everything that I have in Drive is in one of these folders. I try to keep things as organized as I can. For example, here's everything. If I click on that, it's going to show me everything that I have in my 2020 Engage folder. All of the class content is in here. By class, we'll go down here to the G Suite class. If I open that, I moved everything out of that earlier. Let me find one where I actually have stuff in it. We'll go to the templates. Do I have stuff in this one? I do. So here are all the documents that are in this folder. You'll see up at the top, it gives you a quick snapshot of where you are in Drive. But I can access it from either clicking on this screen, or I can click over here on the left-hand navigation. So again, as you put things in Drive, I highly recommend creating folders for things. Don't just dump a bunch of documents in here. Otherwise, you're going to have an unorganized mess and not be able to find things. You want to try to keep this pretty organized. So I recommend, if you've not used Drive before, go in and set up some folders first. That way, as you're uploading your files and uploading important documents, pictures, whatever you have, you start off organized and get them into folders. Again, your folders, to access those, you either click on the down arrow right here next to My Drive, or you can click down here on any of these. And these will open the folders with the documents inside of them. Anyone have questions on just navigation based what I've covered thus far? If you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat. Either one. I'm watching the chat very carefully, so I can address any questions. Okay. Next thing down here that we're going to talk about is shared drives. In your shared drives, it's going to look a little different than mine does. I've got access to a lot of our company shared drives. You have access, as do all of our agents, to agent marketing. Agent training is the drive that I'm using to dump all the training stuff into. Patty, I'll show you in just a second how to create a folder in your drive. And then you have access to your office, whatever office you're in, you have access to your office folder. I know some of your brokers and managers, staff use folders or use the shared drive more often, more frequently than others do, but you've got some great resources likely already in your drives. In the agent marketing drive, for example, let me show you what you have access to in here. Again, these are things that are in here that were opened frequently, might not have been opened or saved by you, but somebody was in here and opened these most recently. But down here in agent marketing, this is where you have access, for example, to all of the BHG logos and disclaimers sit here in logos and disclaimers. So if you ever need a logo, can't find it, come into Drive, go into your shared drive, into agent marketing, and here are all of the logos. Here are all the bug logos. They're in JPEG format and PNG. You just keep clicking, and then you'll get to these files. And in just a minute, I'm going to show you how you download files out of Drive after we go through this navigation. So hang with me for just a second. So we'll go into the agent training drive real quick, and I'll show you where the resources are that I'm going through in today's class. So in the shared drive, I'm in agent training. Again, you all have access to this. Anything I put in here, everybody in the company has access to it. You have view access. You can't add stuff to this, but you can take stuff out of it. So let's go under the G Suite resources here. And here is a PDF of the cheat sheet for Google Drive. You might want to go in and download this after class to be able to come back and get a refresh on the things that I'm covering today. If I click on this, I'm going to get a preview of the document. From here, I have options. I can open this with Preview, which is the program. I work on a Mac. It's the program on my computer where I can view PDFs. Over here on the, as I open a document, over here on the right-hand side, it's going to give me some options. If I want to print this, I click the print. If I want to download this to my own computer, I can do that. I'm also going to show you how you can save a copy of it to your own drive. That way you're not downloading documents just to simply re-upload them into your own drive. I'll show you that in just a second. And then under the 3 options, you've got some other options. If you try to move this, I don't think you're going to see that option. I see that option because I'm the owner on this drive. Some of these options you will not see since you're a view only on this. But just want to show you some navigation things over here. So let's go back and I'm going to show you how you can add this to your own drive. I have the document clicked right here. And I'm going to right click on the document and it brings up all sorts of options for me. I am going to do, well, I'll go ahead and do it. You know what, I'm going to go back to agent marketing because that's one that I'm not an owner on. We'll go back to our logos here. Let me get my bug. Okay, so if I want to add a copy of this to my own drive, I click on it, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go down here to make a copy. As soon as I click make a copy, a box is going to pop up and I want to hit organize because I don't want it just dumped into my drive. I want it organized into one of my folders that I've already created. So when I hit make a copy, right down here, it's creating the copy for me. Of course, it made it in here. We're going to hit move to. This is the screen that I wanted you to get to, that you'll have. So I'm going to move this to, I'm clicking the back button to get out of this back to my drive. Hold on just a second. I'm going to try something real quick. Because I have different permissions than you have, it's not letting me do the options that I want. Let me log in here to my training account. Come on. All right, while I'm waiting for that to load, I'm going to come back here. I'm going to delete this so it doesn't mess anybody up. See if that's loaded yet. I apologize. I should have done this. Thought about this before I started the class. Get my code here. Okay. So let's go back in here to share drive. I'm now logged in with regular agent permissions, not as an admin. So this should be a little bit better for everybody. All right, so let's go back to agent marketing. Let me go back to logos and disclaimers. Find our bug logo. I'm just clicking on folders here to open them. Okay, so I want to make a copy of this black bug to my drive. So you'll notice that some of the options here are now grayed out. This is what you are going to see. So I'm going to hit make a copy. And down here, it's creating a copy, and I can hit show file location, and it's going to show me where I put it. I put it right into my drive. Once it's in here, I can then hit move to and move to a folder. So Patty was asking how to create a folder in your drive. So let's say you've done this and you want to create a folder in your drive with logos. So I'm going to go up here to new and go to folder. This creates our new folder. I'm going to name it BHG logos. Here's the folder. And now I want to put this into that folder. I can click and drag, or I can again hit right click and hit move to, open that folder and hit move here. So it's easier to click and drag. This is kind of the long way to do it. But when once you have a lot of files in here, it's sometimes a little faster to go through it with this dialog box. Okay. Is everybody pretty good with how to access the shared drives? This is what your shared drive will probably look like, with the exception of your office drive on here, as opposed to the Blue Valley office. This agent is set up to access the Blue Valley office. But again, in here, you have view-only privileges in here. You can't add things to these drives, but you can download them or add them to your own drive. Okay, I don't see any questions coming through in chat, so I'm going to move on here. This next option down here this gets a little confusing for everybody, the difference between shared drives and shared with me. So shared drives are the drives that the company is using as kind of the catch-all for our marketing stuff, our training stuff, for your office stuff. Let's say I've shared, let me do this real quick. I'm going to go back to, I know I'm flipping between screens. I'm going back to my admin screen. If I want to share, I'm going to show you how to share something and then show you on the flip side where you're going to see that if somebody has shared something with you. Let's go to, let's see here. Let me just go back into my templates. Okay, if I want to share this with another agent, with a client, with my admin, with my broker, I'm going to click on, highlight the document right here, highlight the file. And as I highlight that, you're going to notice that there's some options that come up here in the upper right. This first one is a link. If I want to share a link to this document, I'd click on Get Shareable Link, and I've got to turn link sharing off, or on, excuse me. The default for anything that you put into your private drive is that it's private unless you turn this link on. So if this is something that I want to share, I'm going to click to turn the link sharing on, and then I can click into shared settings here and dictate who I want to see this. So right now this is set up, my default is anyone at Kansas City Homes can, with this link to this document, it's not for my whole drive, it's only for this document that I have highlighted right here, this 2019 buyer offer summary template. Anybody with this link at Kansas City Homes can view the document. If I click the arrow next to view, I can set permissions for this document. I can say that they cannot just view it, but they can also edit it. They can comment. Typically when I'm sharing documents, unless it's something I'm trying to collaborate with someone on, I'm always sending it to them as a view versus an edit. If I want to type individual names in here, I'm going to type in, I'm going to do Sam Agent. I can also, I want to make sure that she sees I can type correctly. Right here, I can add a note. This will come up in her email to alert her that I have shared this document with her, and it'll include a link to this document. We're going to go ahead and hit send. Do you want me to go through that one more time, how to share a link for a document? Okay, let's do this one. Inspection explanation. Actually, we'll do the PDF. So I click on the document. I found it inside of my drive. And when I click on the document, it brings up these links up here. Right now, I'm just doing this link document. Next, I'll show you how you can share it just with individual people. But if I want to turn link sharing on, I'm going to hit this little link button right here. I'm going to turn link sharing on, and then I'm going to go to my settings to make sure I have this set up correctly. Here I can set permissions. I can either copy this link and paste it in an email, or it's much easier right here to, if you're sharing it with an individual person, just to type in their email address right here. And then I'm going to hit send. If I don't want to turn link sharing on and I just want to share it with one person, we'll go down here to this one. Instead of using this link, the get shareable link, I'm going to click the add person here. So if I click the add person, I can share this. I don't have to turn the link sharing on. I can just share it with one individual person. Add my note here and hit send. Before I hit send, I want to show you something. If you're sharing it with an individual person, I'm going to show you in just a second what this looks like on the flip side. We're going to flip over to Sam Agent's drive, and I'm going to show you where she finds this. Right here next to your entry for the people that you're adding is this drop down. This is where you can dictate their preferences. So if I want her to be able to edit this one, I can have her edit. I can have her comment or view. I don't ever use comment. Usually I'm using either edit or view. This is a PDF though, so she can't edit it anyways. But I'm going to go ahead and hit can edit on this one. And I'm going to hit send. So that's how you share individual files. Let's jump over to Sam's drive, and I'm going to show you where she now sees this drive. This is Sam Agent's. This is not Christian's drive. This is my Sam Agent drive, and I've shared these documents with her. They're going to come up here in her quick access because these are the most recent documents that were put into her drive. So she can access them from here, or she goes down here to shared with me. This is different than the shared drive. This is shared individually with me. If I click on that, I'm going to see right here a list of documents that were shared with me and who sent them, who shared those with me. So that's what the person sees when you share a document with them. Let me show you what shows up in there. See if it'll allow me to log in here to Gmail as Sam. Hopefully it already has. Okay, so I'm in Sam Agent's email address, and she's also received emails from me that I have shared the buyer top 5 must-haves with her. And if she clicks this open, she'll get a preview of what I've shared. And it also sits in her drive under shared with me. So what about sharing entire folders? If you have an entire folder that you want to share with somebody, I want to share this all of these PDFs. I don't think there's stuff in here. If I want to share all of these, instead of having to click and do these individually, remember I click on it, I hit either the link to send it to multiple people, or I hit the singular button here to share it with one person. Instead of having to do that individually, I want to share the whole folder. So 2 different ways I can do that. This is the folder we want to share. If I click on this folder, it brings those same options up here for me. Here's the link sharing, and then here is adding an individual person. So I can click on, if we want to share this whole folder with Sam, I can click on this, type in her email address. Help if I could type today. This button down here, the notify, this is what triggers. This is defaulted to checked. This is what triggers the email to get sent to her. If you don't want them to get an email, uncheck that box. I'm going to check my permissions. I want her in this folder now. She can add stuff to this. So if I'm collaborating with another agent, family member, whoever, if I want them to be able to add documents, their own stuff into this folder, I want to make sure I've selected this top, can organize, add, and edit. If I don't want them to be able to manipulate the documents in there, I want it to be view only for the whole folder. I'm going to hit view only. We'll go ahead and leave it as can organize and edit. And then I'm going to hit send. So I've now shared this entire folder and all of the contents in it. I don't know if you saw that, but now instead of it being a solid folder like this one is, it now has the person in it, which then signifies to me as I'm looking at my, my list of folders, which folders I've shared with different people. You can also share, once you're in a folder, if you come up here to the top, these are live. This tells me where I am, what I've clicked on to get here. But right next to this, there's a little drop down there. And from here, I can also hit share, which is like clicking that same little individual person share. I can get a shareable link. And then I've got some other options in here too, where I can move this whole folder. I can add to starred if this is something that I frequently access. I might want to hit add to starred, and it'll come up in my priority, which is right up here. I can rename the folder. I can change the color of the folder. I can download the entire folder, or here I can delete the entire folder. If I want to add a new folder inside of this, right here, new folder. And I now have a new folder inside of that. You'll notice this new folder is also shared because I've shared this entire folder. Anything I add into here, any new folders I create in here are also going to be shared. You've got the same options. You can either click that down arrow, or you do have the exact same options with the whole folder by clicking on the more button right over here on the right. So let's go see what it looks like for Sam, who just received this. We'll look at her emails first. Here she's gotten an email saying that I've shared this whole folder with her. And if she hits open, it's going to open this whole folder in Drive. And again, this is now sitting under her shared with me. So if she comes back to this later on and can't find the email and wants to access these, Sam's going to need to come over here on the left-hand side and go to shared with me. And here's this folder right down here in her list. Okay, I'm going to pause here and answer any questions you have at this point on anything that I've covered or other questions that you have. Feel free to either put them in the chat or unmute yourself and ask questions. But what questions do you have so far? Okay, Howard is asking, Can you move the folder in shared with me to my drive? Yes, Howard, you can. Let me show you how to do that. So if I click on this folder and I right click on this, I can hit this add to my drive right here. If I hit add to my drive, it's creating a copy of this, and it's now, let's click on my drive. This is now added to my own drive. This way I don't have to go into shared with me. It's sitting here in my drive. It is still shared. So if I add documents, if Sam adds documents in here, if Christian adds documents in here, it's still shared. You're still getting live updates in here. Again, to do that, if I'm in shared with me, if I want to do it for individual documents, I can. I'm going to highlight the document and right click on it and hit add to my drive. If I want to put this into a specific folder, I want you to watch what happens here when I hit add to my drive. This pop-up comes up. I can undo. If I hit organize, this is where I can tell it which folder I want it to be added to inside of my drive. So I want this to be added to this folder. If I do nothing, it's just going to add it to the general My Drive. Oh, good, it froze on me. See if I can do that again. It's not going to let me do it again because I already added it, but right here I can hit move to. And I can select in my drive where I want it. I want it here. Okay. Let's go back to some functionality stuff inside of your drive. I'm going to stay in Sam Agent's drive here because it probably looks a whole lot more like yours than my other one with 8,000 folders. Down here, a couple other things. If you click on recent, this will show you the most recent list in order of what you have opened or what you have added to Drive. So if you can't find something, you know you opened it recently, click on this recent. I showed you a minute ago how you can star documents. If you star documents, they're going to sit right under here in starred. Sam hasn't starred anything yet. Let's go star something. Let's star the bug logo. If I click on this, right click, I'm going to hit add to starred, which I might want to do if there's a document that I frequently come in here looking for or use to update, send, etc. Really easy to add the starred, and then there's your shortcut to all your starred stuff right here, regardless of what folder it is in, regardless of where it is in your drive, it'll still sit here in your starred. And then trash. Anything that you've put in the trash will sit in here. Your trash will automatically kick things out after a certain period of time or after you hit a certain storage level, or certain storage amount. But if you've deleted something inadvertently and want to go back and pull it out of trash, you can do that by clicking on trash. Go back to my drive, clicking over here on the left-hand side. And I want to show you up here in settings. You do have some settings that are available to you in Drive. I don't come in here very often, but you can come in here and set up your personal settings, notifications, how you want to get notified when things change in Drive or when somebody shares stuff with you. If you have any connected apps, you can manage those here. Again, I don't come into settings a whole lot, but wanted to show you where that is. I will show you the one setting that I mess with quite frequently is right up here underneath, here's my SAM agent, I'm logged in. Right underneath here is this little, you can flip between a list view and a grid view here. So depending on how you like to view things, if I click on grid view, or excuse me, if I click on list view, this is showing me my folders in a list view and my files in little previews. If I go back to grid view, this shows it to me. I think it's kind of counterintuitive. This shows me, actually, I think this is a list view. The other one is grid view. List view shows them to me in a list. I'll show you what that looks like when you get into, if you've got a ton of folders like I do in this one, if I go to this grid view, it gives me a snapshot of all of my folders versus having to scroll. I prefer the list view. It's just easier for me, but that's total personal preference. But up here is the toggle where you can change between your list view and your grid view. And then if you click on this view details, as you get into documents, you can see where this came from, when it was uploaded, get some information on it. If you've got a shared folder, this is a shared folder. I can see who I've shared this with. Again, this is right up here in the info button. Any activity, I can see that I've most recently changed permissions on December 6th. If I scroll down here, I can see any activity, when I've shared things, what I've shared, what I've uploaded, what I've changed. Okay, any questions at this point? The next thing I'm going to move into is how you get documents from your email to Drive. Someone asked, is there a way to confirm that the person you shared with has received it or opened it? Let's look real quick at this file that I've shared with Sam. She's opened it. Okay, what file did we share with her? Oh, it was under templates. Sorry, I'm having a tough time because I'm not used to looking at it this way. Let me go back to my normal view. I know it's in Engage, Class Contents. And then I shared with her under templates. Come on, computer. This is the folder I shared with her, PDF to share. If I click on this and hit info, it will show me right here what she's done with it. So she added an item to it. I don't know if it will show up that she has viewed it. Right here, it'll show you that you have shared it with her. But until they do something with it, I don't know that it's going to show up in any activity. If you go into individual documents, I believe, let me look at this. And hit info. Again, it'll tell me that she added this to a folder. I don't know that it'll tell you that someone has viewed it or opened it. If they do anything with it, if they save it, do anything, that's what you're going to see in your activity. You can see here when it was last opened, when it was created. Hopefully that answers your question. Any other questions before we head over to Gmail? All right. So how do we get documents that are in Gmail? I've showed you how to upload them from your computer, but if you're working in Gmail and you get sent an attachment that you want to save or and put into Drive, I want to show you how to do that. So I'm going to go over here to my email. It's a little scary right now. And I'm going to go down. I've got a label for some emails. To use as examples. So if I've been sent this email and there's an attachment here and I want to put this attachment into Drive. If I hover over the attachment, I get some options right down here at the bottom. This is likely how you have put things into Drive and not realize it. If I hover over, this button downloads the document for me. It saves a copy of this, downloads it onto my computer. I don't need to do that anymore. I'm saving everything in Drive now. So I don't want to have to download it and then upload it into Drive. I want to add it directly into Drive. So I'm going to click the Drive icon right here, Save to Drive. And when I click on this, I'm going to get the little box that comes up that asks me if I want to organize. If I don't hit organize, it's just going to dump it into my Drive general list. If I hit organize, it's then going to allow me to select what folder I want to put this into. So I want to put this into my Drive. So I'm going to hit Save to Drive, and then I want to hit organize. And this is right now up at the top, I can see that I'm in my Drive. If I want to create a new folder, I don't have one created for this. So I want to create a marketing folder to put this in. I'm going to hit the checkbox. Again, to create that folder, you click right down here on the folder with the plus sign. I've created the folder and I've hit the checkbox, and then I'm going to hit move here. And you'll see now that that is illuminated. As I menu over this, it was gray before. Now it's turned to green, yellow, and blue, which means I know when I come back to this email that I've already put this in Drive. If I want to move what folder I put it into, I can do that right from here. If I click on Drive, it's going to allow me to organize it. So if I put it in the wrong folder, what is going on with my computer? There we go. Right now it's sitting in here. I can do a shortcut to that folder, or I can hit move this item. And from here, I can move the item into another folder inside my Drive, or just move it to my Drive in general. That's how you get attachments, and I'll walk through this one more time with another email, but that's how you get attachments that you are sent from Gmail into your Drive. So now this is sitting over here in a folder that I created in my Drive, a marketing folder. That flyer is sitting right here. Let's walk through that one more time. I'll go to this one. This is some information that was sent about Virtual 360, and I want to put all of these attachments into Drive. I want to create a folder that's Virtual 360 information and dump all of these into that one folder. I don't have to do it individually. I can hover over, hit the Drive, and go through that same process, or I can put all these attachments into the folder at one time. And to do that, you'll see right over here on the right-hand side, I've got the option to download all of them or save them all to Drive. So I'm going to hit the Save All to Drive button. And then I want to hit Organize. I don't want it dumped in just to my Drive. I want to create a folder that's Virtual View 360 to put all this information into. So again, I hit that Organize button. I'm coming right down here to the folder plus, the new folder. I'm going to hit the checkbox to create the folder. I'm in the folder. I'm going to hit move here, and it's now moved all of these 5 attachments into that folder. It's telling me right down here it's moved in. If I click on Virtual View 360 right here, it'll pop me right over into this folder in Drive. Here it all is. Here's my new folder right down here at the bottom, Virtual View 360. And there's my documents. Okay, before I show you, go on to the next step here of adding things from Drive to an email, anybody have questions about adding things from email to Drive? Okay, seeing none, let's now figure out how we attach things. If I want to send one of the things I just put in Drive, I want to send it to somebody else. I've saved it in Drive. I'm going to pop this screen out so you can see it a little bit better. And we are going to send this to, I want to send this to Sam Agent. Good info. I want to put that sign that I just downloaded from marketing. It was a good, good little piece to put on the front door of listings right now. So I'm going to type my message. I can type. And then down at the bottom here, right now I've got the text options up. I'm going to click that to hide it. I'm going to go right over here to Drive. And I'm going to hit Insert Files from Drive. And up here at the top, this is my Drive. I can also access files in Shared Drive from here, the Shared with Me, the Recent. Or if the file isn't in Drive yet, I can upload from here. We're not going to do that right now. I'm going to go to My Drive, and I'm going to click on, this is showing me, I like this. This is showing me what I've most recently modified. If I want this sorted a different way, I can. If I want it alphabetical, sometimes you do. But that's where you would change that right there. I can search right here. I know that's sitting right here in my new marketing folder. So before I click insert on this, as I highlight it, it then illuminates insert. But I want you to pay attention right down here on the bottom. It's going to ask me, do I want to insert this as a link or do I want it to be an attachment? I want to attach this. I don't want her to have to go into Drive and access the document. I just want it to be an attachment. So I make sure that attachment is clicked here. I'm going to show you the alternative here in just a second. But for right now, let's do it as an attachment. I want to make sure that's toggled to attachment, and then I hit insert and it's attaching the document. So again, I click on the Drive button right here. I find the document that I want to attach. Let's do something different. Let's do these virtual view documents. Maybe, come on, computer. And this time I'm going to show you how to attach it as a link. Let me go back out and back in and see if that helps. There we are. I just want to send this one. So it's defaulted when I come in here to a link. So I've got that on now. Again, if I wanted to do attachment, I would toggle there. Let's do it as a link this time. And it's now going to add a link to this document. Right up here where my cursor was is the link. Let's go ahead and send this. And when I hit send, it's going to ask me, because I've done this up here as a link, it's going to tell me you're sharing this as a link and you have not given her access to this. So it's going to ask you here if you want to give access. And I do. I want for Sam Agent to be able to view this. If I wanted her to be able to edit or comment, I can change that. If I wanted to turn link sharing on, which I don't, I just want it to go to her. And I'm going to go ahead and send. If you're sharing things as a link, you're going to have to give whoever you're emailing it to access to view or to edit the document. I prefer sharing things as attachments versus sharing them as links, unless it's something large, or if I'm trying to attach all 5 of those, Virtual View 360, I might send her a link to the whole folder. How are we doing? Do we have any questions on that? Let's pop over and look at what Sam Agent sees on her side after I've sent this email. Go to Sam's email. So here's this email that's come through, and here's how Sam receives this. she's got 2 attachments here now. So not only did this come through as a link, but it also came through as an attachment for her. I think it's much easier just to include things as attachments versus trying to send links. But again, that's just my personal preference. Okay, I know that we are just about out of time, and I actually did good on timing on this one. That was the last, really the last thing that I wanted to show you. I'm going to open up the chat and if you want to unmute yourself for you to ask any questions at all about Drive. I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to hang out for a few minutes and go back and explain anything that we've gone through in Drive. Again, I think once you get used to Drive, it's incredibly easy to use. It's just a different view. It's a different thing to get used to. But I want to show you one more time before I stop. If you have documents or entire folders on your computer and you want to put them up to Drive, we covered this at the very beginning, but let me show it to you again here before we sign off. When you're in your Drive, you go to the New, and you can upload files, or you can upload an entire folder by clicking right here on either File Upload, that's individual files, or Folders, that's whole entire folders. Okay, I've got a question over here in chat. I don't think that there is a way to minimize this view where you see the quick access here at the top. Let's go look in settings real quick. There might be one in here. Oh, there you go. Right here in suggestions. I bet if we uncheck that, that takes away that whole view up there. So there we go. I was able to figure that out on the fly. So now I don't have that quick view. Some people don't like that. It confuses a lot of people. So if you don't like seeing that, go to your settings. Oh, I did not mean to click on that. That's the next class. Go to your settings and uncheck or check the box, make relevant files handy. And then you can click, you can view that quick access or turn it off. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to hang out, put them in the chat. Otherwise, that completes today's session on Drive. Those are just the basics. I am going to add another class soon to go beyond what we did today and show you how to do a couple other things with Drive. One thing that I am a huge fan of is file stream with Drive. That basically creates a copy of Drive onto your own computer, so you don't have to go online to upload files, to save files. You can do it all on your computer, which is incredibly handy. So watch for the upcoming training on when I plug that one in, but it'll be a good one for you. Hopefully you all got something out of today and you learned something. I appreciate you joining.